Is the Duchess of York Epstein scandal about to hit her in the pocket? Well, maybe. Let me explain why. The charities linked to Sarah Ferguson on Monday certainly moved quickly to distance themselves from her.
She was never the fairytale princess the palace wanted. Sarah Ferguson came into royal life with laughter, charm, and mess. She left in scandal and disgrace. Now, as the former Duchess of York faces life without the man she once called her best friend, old stories have come back up. These stories show betrayal, loneliness, and one American man who changed everything. Before the embarrassing toe-sucking photos, before she was kicked out, and long before people said she redeemed herself, there was another affair. It started while she was still pregnant with Princess Eugenie. This is the story of how a woman who never fit in became one of the most scandalous people in modern royal history. When Sarah Ferguson married Prince Andrew on July 23, 1986, many people saw it less as a love story and more as the palace trying to fix a problem.
The happiest divorced couple, as they describe themselves. She describes herself as being divorced to rather than divorced from him. I've heard her say on multiple occasions what a kind man he is, what a good father, what a good grandfather. But I think what's controversial in these comments is what she says about him being able to come out of the spotlight and get on with his life.
Charles and Diana's marriage was already falling apart, and the palace needed a distraction, something young, lively, and good for cameras. Fergie was perfect. She was loud, enthusiastic, and not royal-like at all. At first, the press liked her. The Queen's advisors didn't. Right away, problems started. Her jokes were too casual, her style too flashy, and she wanted too much attention for a place that demanded quiet behavior. Still, she jumped into royal life, acting like a cheerful modern duchess. She and Andrew had Princess Beatrice in 1988, and 2 years later, Princess Eugenie. But behind the smiling photos, the marriage was already breaking. Andrew's Navy job meant he was gone most of the year. Fergie later said Prince Philip wouldn't let her go with her husband to his work posts. Her own words say it all.
Ready to go skiing.
Sad day for you?
Well, I would say that was the understatement. Yeah, very sad, of course. It's sad. Anyway, you're all going to leave us alone then today, now? Please?
She admitted that she only saw Andrew for 40 days a year. And during those long times apart, the loneliness started hurting her. The palace expected her to act like a good officer's wife, quiet, obedient, and invisible. But Sarah had never been any of those things. In 1989, Fergie traveled to the United States for the Houston Grand Opera's British Opera Festival. There she met Steve Wyatt, a rich, charming businessman from Texas. He was confident, warm, and interested in the Duchess in a way that went beyond polite conversation. He wasn't scared of her royal title. One writer said he was attentive, affectionate, and exactly what she needed right then. They connected instantly. And according to many sources, their friendship turned romantic, even while she was pregnant.
Someone a patron for charities that are helping children, and this patron is openly friends with a known paedophile, and she knew he was a paedophile by that point. Makes me want to vomit.
I mean, there are certain things you can recover from, JJ, right? We had a prince that was involved in tampon gate.
For a woman who felt abandoned by her husband, this wasn't just temptation, it was an escape. By the early 1990s, rumors about Sarah's relationship with Wyatt were spreading in the newspapers. People spotted him at royal events. He'd flown to London secretly. But everything exploded in January 1992 when photos of Wyatt with the toddler Princess Beatrice appeared in newspapers. The message was clear. Sarah Ferguson had introduced her daughter to her lover. For the palace, that crossed every line. Biographer David Lee later wrote that Steve Wyatt was the love of her life and that the affair was the real reason her marriage collapsed.
This barrel's for me.
Toe sucking. Who was this and just why?
It's 1992. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, and Prince Andrew had been divorced for a few months, and Fergie rents a place in the south of France as she took her financial advisor, John Bryan, with her.
When asked about him years later, Fergie's friends said she never truly got over the relationship. 2 months after those photos made headlines, Sarah and Andrew announced their separation. It should have ended there, quiet and contained. But the summer of 1990 brought an even bigger disaster. While on vacation in southern France, the Duchess was photographed topless next to another American man, her financial advisor, John Bryan, as he kissed and sucked her toes by the pool. The images were printed everywhere. The royal family was humiliated. The Queen was reportedly devastated. Prince Philip wrote to her personally saying the damage couldn't be fixed. Sarah Ferguson had become a national joke and an international embarrassment. By 1993, her reputation was destroyed.
It's after on Sunday we saw that email she'd sent to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, which appeared to be a grovelling apology to him. She said she had to write it because she was being threatened by Jeffrey Epstein.
They worked out a formal separation, and by 1996, the marriage was over. She got a modest settlement, just over £3 million, way less than what Diana would later receive. Yet despite everything, Sarah and Andrew stayed unusually close friends. They continued to share Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park, raised their daughters together, and even went on vacations together. Sarah often called them the happiest divorced couple in the world. It was an arrangement that worked for them both, it seems, until recently. Decades later, the same couple, once made fun of by the press for being too casual, too messy, and too scandalous, are again in the center of controversy.
Not only that, but a pap found them and took photos of Brian sucking Fergie's toes, Fergie topless, and all of this happening while her 2 daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, were around. It was an absolute sensation.
After Andrew's terrible connection with Jeffrey Epstein and losing his royal duties and titles, the pair's long time living together at Royal Lodge has reportedly ended. They're said to be going their separate ways at last, after almost 2 decades living under the same roof. For Sarah, this marks the end of a strange royal chapter, one that started in glamour, spiraled into scandal, and ended in quiet survival. Sarah Ferguson has always been a contradiction. Sometimes she's the funny one in the monarchy, clumsy, emotional, and impossible to control. Other times she's the warning story, the woman who proved that being charming without self-control can destroy you. She wanted attention when she shouldn't have. She trusted people she shouldn't have. And in a world where every mistake becomes a headline, she gave her critics endless material. But what made her downfall so interesting is that she never pretended otherwise.
They are extremely damaging, and there'll be many who think, well, who are you to say you should just be allowed to get on with your life?
And also the question is, what kind of life is he or does she envisage his getting on with? Because obviously he can't get on with life as a member of the royal family and a working royal.
She was messy, she was chaotic, and she was totally unroyal. She once said she married into a cage made of gold, and when the doors finally opened, she didn't know how to be free. Every time she tried to be independent, whether through business deals, book contracts, or friendships, it seemed to end in scandal. Tabloids mocked her, royal advisors rejected her, and late-night TV shows made fun of her. Yet somehow she survived, and decades later, she still tries to make money from her royal status, writing books and speaking publicly. But knowing what we know now, the affair, the humiliation, and the exile remain the main chapters of her story. And they were only the beginning. Today, Sarah Ferguson is something rare, a royal exile who refuses to disappear. She still calls herself a supporter of he monarchy. She still speaks warmly of the Queen and fiercely of her daughters. But the truth is, her place in royal history is sealed as a reminder of what happens when emotions meet the royal institution and when personal weakness becomes a public show. Her affair with Steve Wyatt didn't just destroy her marriage, it cemented her reputation. And it seems now the affair perfectly showed her true character, her ability to deceive, to not take responsibility, and do whatever she wants simply because she can. To the palace, she always be the duchess who embarrassed them. To the public, she's the woman who couldn't stop talking and couldn't stop falling apart. Decades later, Sarah Ferguson's reputation hasn't improved much. Her name keeps coming up with shady business ventures, questionable friends, and reckless money decisions. From being a spokesperson for a failed Bitcoin company accused of misleading investors to endless tabloid reports about money troubles and desperate publicity stunts, it's clear that controversy has stayed with her. Insiders say the former. Duchess has quietly started planning to leave the UK, maybe to escape the attention that now surrounds both her and Prince Andrew. Talk of new business deals abroad and luxury properties overseas has only added to rumors that she's getting ready to reinvent herself once again, this time far from Windsor's watchful eyes. But if history tells us anything, it's that Sarah Ferguson rarely leaves scandal behind. She takes it with her for years. She's blamed loneliness, the press, and royal pressure for her downfall. But at some point, the pattern becomes too obvious to ignore. Time and again, she's chosen attention over privacy, risk over safety, and quick money over long-term respect. Whatever sympathy she once had has long disappeared. Even within royal circles, few now see her as the great survivor she likes to claim she is. So what do you think? Is Sarah Ferguson simply unlucky? She the one causing her own repeated disgrace? Should she finally leave the UK? Or is this just another act in a decades-long performance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more royal exposes that show the truth about Britain's most controversial family.